everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Beer, Toys and Banter. I'm Dunny.
And I'm Nez.
Right, Nez, exciting episode this week. Got something rather special for you, but first, let's drink some beer. What are you on this week, mate?
I'm going to try Trooper. Now, I know a lot of people like this beer. I guess it's sold on the back of the Iron Maiden brand, the Trooper guy. It's Robinson's Brewery, 4.7%. But I'll be honest with you, I've never had this before.
Well, I have. And I've had it both in bottle and in draft. And I think it's better in bottle than it is draft.
Interesting. I'm excited by that.
I don't know why.
Well, it's definitely a bitter smell. And I can also smell it's quite malty. Let's give it a try, mate. That's a tasty beer, that, mate.
I just think it's a really nice, refreshing beer.
It's reminiscent of how bottled bitters used to taste when I first started drinking, and I were experimenting trying this. I remember Lion Crystal Ale and stuff like that. Really nice. Yeah.
What percent's that?
4.7, mate.
4.7. Nice.
Yeah, very nice. What are you trying, mate?
Well, I'm going for it. One of our favourite breweries, Black Sheep, Monty Python's Holy Grail.
Not Gale off Coronation Street.
No, that's a different beer.
Right.
So it's Monty Python's Holy Grail. Again, this is a 4.7%. So let's give this one a go. We do need to go back there to Black Sheep.
We do, mate.
Pay our nod to your mother while we're there. So I've not read the back of this. I'm going to try and do it all like proper and that.
All like proper and that.
Yeah, that's the wording. Again, smelling the hops, smelling honey. Bit sweet. It's a sweet beer, I think. Very nice, very refreshing. I am tasting that honeycomb, and I'm doing that, so I must be right.
Well, I'm going to tell you what it says, if my eyes will allow me to. I like golden beer.
Yes.
With a fresh, zesty taste and a long, crisp, bitter finish.
So no honeycomb.
Absolutely does not contain honey.
Right.
No, it doesn't say that, but what it does say in true Monty Python style is, goes beautifully with Spam.
Nice.
Albatross or battered herring.
Yeah. Really crisp, refreshing beer, mate.
Monty Python's Holy Grail.
Very happy with that. Very, very sessionable. Do a few of them.
Good. Two cracking beers this week then, Dunny. As Dunny said at the top of the show, we've got something special for you this week. We put out on the show a few weeks ago, if you've got a collection and you'll let us two lunatics loose in your house to have a look at your collection, get in touch. And Russell Baines got in touch and said, why don't you come round and have a look at my childhood collection? And so that's exactly what we did. And
loved it.
Absolutely loved it. And here's the video. So, Russell, thanks very much for inviting us over,
that's
mate.
fine.
Thanks for inviting us to have a look at your childhood collection, mate. Tell us all about it.
Well, principally, I grew up on Star Wars. I was there at the beginning, what they call first generation. So basically, every weekend, when they give me £1.50, let me go to a shop and I'd buy a figure. And that just continued and continued.
Where did you get them from in Preston?
Well, there were a few stores, but sadly, the one that was my most popular one was St George's Shopping Centre. Before it was redone, it used to be an extension of St John's Shopping Centre, as I recall. and the centre was open plan. So it was all in the open. There was a tiny little toy shop there, and I would always be in there.
Was it Zodiac? No.
It could have been. See, sometimes I mix up with Toy and Hobby, but Toy and Hobby was on Church Street near Boots.
And there used to be one on Plungington Road, didn't there?
I think so, yes.
Toy shop.
Yeah. So, but I was always there buying them, and I can always remember the smell of that rubbery smell when you opened them. Yeah, I grew up with Star Wars till Return of the Jedi, and then it was the case of I started being an adult. I was growing up. I boxed everything that went in the attic, and never really forgot about it. But I never got rid because my childhood was in there.
Yeah.
The history of my parents buying me stuff at Christmas and birthdays. You know, it was all there. The memories playing.
And how much of a collector are you in terms of knowing what you've got? Because I've spotted a couple of gems in there.
Well,
are you into variants, for example?
No, not particularly. I mean, I'm not. I wouldn't class myself as a collector. I class myself as a rememberer. For me, this is history.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you look at a figure and it's like that's almost 40 years old, and it's still in great nick. And that does make me feel kind of proud.
Yeah. Yeah, and as you say, there's all the memories of your childhood that go along with these toys rather than just being toys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Let's have a closer look then, mate. Talk us through these figures you've got all sat down on this top shelf.
Well, you know, as you can see, I've got Stormtroopers. I always bought them a lot. I swapped with friends because I didn't think you could run an empire with just one Stormtrooper.
Yeah.
You needed quite a few. And of course, although they haven't got them on, I have still got a few of the capes and the guns.
Right,
stuff.
you've got the guns, have you? Because the first thing that I was going to say is none of them seem to have any of the weapons.
Yeah, well, strangely, in this little Tupperware thing that my mum gave me, I was to keep them all safe, basically.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so many of the original weapons, accessories. That is incredible, mate. Because very often you do find childhood collections where they haven't kept the guns.
Yeah.
Now and again you get them, and I've never seen a Tupperware thing like that, but normally, like a little square sandwich box or something, there may be a few weapons in or whatever. But no, that's amazing that you still got all that.
And the weird thing is, when I was actually watching Star Wars years back, I didn't realise this. This same Tupperware box is actually sat on the table, Ben's and Aunt Beru's.
Wow.
With blue milk in it, and Luke reaches over to push them into a plastic cup. So they were using Tupperware, ordinary Tupperware, and my mum just happened to have a set.
Wow,
So
that's a really cool thing to keep your weapons in as well.
Yeah, but back then we didn't know, it was just regular old Tupperware.
Yeah.
So realising that the tub I have is actually, the guns and things.
Yeah.
Because of course these are the Rebel radio pack things for the Hoth Rebels, which I think came in the troop carrier.
They did come in the troop carrier.
Because I think they had
or Rebel Transporter, I think it was called. And gas mask,
a little gas mask for Empire. A spur gun off a Millennium Falcon. It's peculiar, I've actually got.
Chewbacca's legs.
I don't know why, I just do. Because that was the Snowtroopers.
Yeah, and Dangor.
Gun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Strangely, yeah.
Boba Fett's backpack. Yeah, so I've noticed there are a few modern bits in there as well.
Yeah.
But all that vintage stuff, wow, incredible, mate.
Yeah, my mum has a tendency to if you see something in a charity shop, she'll pick it up.
Once we've finished filming, I wouldn't mind having a look through them because that is my thing. So obviously, as you say, you went out, you got your pocket money, and you bought a figure each week or each month or whatever it was. And did you ever think at the time when you were a kid buying all these things that they were going to be worth a fortune?
No, it never even entered my head. I mean, when I was still at school, just coming at the tail end of it, I got a job working on the boot sale My first ever job was working on a boot sale. And of course, boot sales were where people got rid of stuff. But the stall I worked on was a Star Wars one. The gentleman who ran it sold Star Wars. So my wage went straight back in his pocket because at the end of the day, I would buy whatever he had, you know. So yeah, I was always coming home with more Star Wars stuff.
And you've said you're never going to sell them, but I've noticed just by having a look through your figures before we started filming that there's a couple of really tasty ones in there. I think that's a really nice Boba Fett variant. There's old Yak Face there.
Yeah.
Imperial Dignitary. There's a couple of quite hard to get figures in that, and that really is great to see from a childhood collection. I've just spotted as we're talking a Man as well down there behind Jabba.
Oh yes, yeah, that was one of the more newer figures that came out, wasn't it? On at the tail end.
The last 17, yeah. So moving down, then I can see what we've got here is a mixture of 12-inch figures and play sets, and there's also a mixture of modern and vintage here. So just talk us through that display.
Well, the 3PO R2 and Vader down here. My mum got me in the 80s on the tail end of Empire. Same with the Walker and stuff. But then I saw a certain fondness for the I don't know if it was Palatoy that started doing these modern 12-inch ones.
Kenner, the modern ones.
Yeah, with the grip hand that was like that. It's like following the same principle of the modern what do you call it? Action Man thing. But there were certain ones that caught my eye. The two stormtroopers are Han and Luke in disguise.
Yeah.
They've got their helmets on. I liked the Luke with the lightsaber.
But that's a vintage stormtrooper.
Yes, at the end, yeah. That one I saved off a friend from school. Super glued the arm back on. His fingers are missing, but it's just to have him.
Yeah.
You know. Particularly enjoyed the Emperor. Actually came in a set with this Vader, which unfortunately fell off.
Yeah.
But I liked this particular Vader because it came with the helmet that comes off, so you could display it in two different ways. And I absolutely adore that it's still got the Shaw. I think the actor's surname was Shaw.
Sebastian Shaw. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's captured his facial.
Yeah.
Perfectly. And then, of course, I had to get myself a Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Because this particular Darth Maul separates in the middle.
Yeah, as it should. Yeah, and so a couple of lovely playsets in there. The Imperial Attack Base.
Yeah.
Quite a sought-after playset. Jabba, obviously. And then you've got this Land of the Jawas, which, incredibly, is an American Land of the Jawas.
Yeah.
Not a British Palatoy one.
I didn't get, unfortunately, when I got it, it was once again a boot sale thing. Didn't get the cardboard
backdrop
of the Sandcrawler.
It's a vat-formed base, not a solid plastic base, stuck on a piece of cardboard. Palatoy tried to de-engineer or take the value out of some of the American stuff so that they could hit the English market with it. Yeah. In other words, they didn't think we would pay as much for toys as the Americans would. And then when we get down onto this bottom one, there's some big hitters here and there's some huge great ships. AT-ATs, Imperial, or Rebel Transport, I should say, B-Wings, Slave One. Are we still allowed to call it Slave
I'm going to call it that because that's its name.
Yeah.
That is what the ship is known as. And, I'm not going to change my attitude. But yeah, I've got a Rancor over here. There's a Boba Fett 12-inch. I think that's from the 80s.
Yeah, nice.
It's
quite a lot of Ewoks there.
Yes. Well, I discovered while I purchased Ewoks that their hoods were interchangeable. So
you could make new ones by swapping the hoods.
Yes. So although there's lots that are the same, you put a hood on it and give it a different spear, and it's a completely different Ewok.
Ingenious, yeah.
You build up your army. I mean, there is stuff I particularly love. Love the catapult that they did, the Biker Scout that explodes. A lot of the stuff that they did for just toy purposes, it's a pity it didn't make it into the films. I mean, I always loved that ship. That weird two-legged thing. with the
2 or
claw,
something it's called.
with the claw mechanism at the back.
Yeah. And I noticed that you've got EV9D9 parts in it. Another rare last 17 figure just for a lot of money. Wow, what a childhood collection, and what memories you must have of playing with all these toys. Thanks very much for inviting us over, mate.
No,
thank you.
No, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
So there you go. What a great collection, and
Loved it. Love seeing how other people, why they collect this stuff is the biggest thing for me.
and how they display it.
And how they display it.
And I think what was great about Russell's collection was the fact that it, almost all of it, was from his childhood.
Yeah, I saw your face when he took the weapons out in the. He remembers that time we did the toy fair in Bolton, and do you remember when you just tipped that thing out and you just bought that tub of weapons?
Yeah, yeah. Also, I should say a very big thank you to Russell, not just for inviting us into your home and showing us your collection, but for this gift. It's a bottle dummy of Preston Guild Ale. Now, Preston Guild is an event that comes round, I thought, every 30 years. Russell says every 20. One of us will be right, whatever. But it's quite rare. It comes round every
Never heard of it, mate.
and this is from the Preston Guild in 1992. So it's obviously going to be completely undrinkable now. But it's a bottle of Preston Guild Ale. And I'm really, really pleased to have this, and I'm going to put that on the shelf in the tiki bar.
What percent's that?
7%. So that would have been a lovely.
They seem to have done a lot of big percentage ones them days ago, didn't they?
Yeah, I think that in a small bottle like this, I reckon this will have a barley wine taste to it or something like that.
That's where I first tried. Is it Old Ben's?
Old Tom's.
Old Tom's. That's where I first tried that in a small bottle, and
Yeah.
There were a couple when I was growing up. That were in the small bottles.
I hope you weren't drinking when you were growing up. I hope you started drinking when you were grown up.
Some people might say I've not grown up yet, mate.
Fair enough. Well, on that note, that just about wraps it up, doesn't it, for another episode of Beer, Toys and Banter.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget, tell all your friends about us, hit that like button, subscribe. And in the next episode, done it, because we have got to 300 subscribers, so we're only 700 now away from that magic 1,000. We'll do the giveaway that we promised. So we'll see you next week for a giveaway on Beer, Toys and Banter.
See you next week, everybody.
Cheers.